We talked about that Pistons schedule, how there's a chance that by the time the new year rolls around, they have this ridiculously inflated. I don't even think it's inflated. They'd earn every win, but there's a chance they have this ridiculous record. And I still think even if they are the 1 seed by the time the new year rolls around and they have this crazy 25-5 record, whatever it ends up being, I still don't think they'd be getting the respect in terms of the Vegas odds as one of the favorites in the Eastern Conference. They'll go down. But right now, they're still fourth in odds. Cleveland and New York are just far and away the two favorites to win the East. Orlando, for some reason, third still. I don't really understand that one. And then the Pistons are sitting there at 4. I think the way that they really spike up in terms of the odds and become one of the favorites, if not the favorite to win the East, is to make a trade at the deadline, which now seems like very much like, yeah, why would you not go make at least a move to make you a contender? I think if the Pistons are to make a move, it's not necessarily has to be the all-in Lowry Markkanen move. That's like the dream prize. You'd have to give up everything. If they do that, they're the favorites to win the East. If they do 50% of that, I think they're the favorites to win the East. There's not going to be a move this year like last year where it's like, hey, they added Dennis Schroeder at the deadline, and now we think we can compete. If they make any sort of move, they are gunning for the title. They're telling you we're trying to win the Eastern Conference. There's no marginal upgrade move to make at the trade deadline this year. If the Pistons are going to make a move, they are telling you we think we are winning the Eastern Conference with this move. So any of those, I threw out a couple on Twitter last night of just trades that I wanted to happen. The actual person is irrelevant. If they make a move, it's because they're trying to launch themselves into contenders. That's how the Pistons start to get some respect on the odds.
Yeah, I mean, I think they totally will make a move, right? It just depends on how large of the move it is.
Right.
So are you saying, like, whatever the move is, they will potentially become one of the favorites of the East, or it's got to be a specific move that gets them launched into that?
I think it's basically any move. I threw out 3 yesterday. One's Lowry Markkanen. That's the mother load. You got to give up Ivy, Tobias, Ron Holland, bunch of picks probably. I threw out Trey Murphy. That's like your ultimate 3-and-D person, overqualified role player. He just signed an extension, so you basically get a 3-and-D guy for the next 3 seasons. You got to give up a few picks for it. 38% three-point shooter. I could have swore Trey Murphy was an all-defensive player one year. He's never actually made an all-defensive team, but that type of caliber of a player. And then the Michael Porter Jr. thing, you just walk right into a top 10 offense. Think Malik Beasley, but 6'10". That's his play style. Any one of those moves, I think you're automatically one of, if not the favorites to win the East.
Right. My only thing is I don't necessarily know. Like, I think there is a move coming. I just wouldn't be shocked if it's something small. It feels like with the run that they're on currently, it feels like doing something drastic isn't something that Trajan Langdon has been very, at least hasn't talked about doing something like that. It feels like he's very calculated and is here for the long game type of stuff, doesn't want to make any crazy moves that could potentially hurt the franchise. I'm not saying it would hurt the franchise to trade for one of those guys, but he just doesn't scream to me as the guy that would trade away 4 first-round picks is what I'm saying.
What does he seem like, though? Because we don't really get a whole lot from him.
Right.
He doesn't speak in front of the microphone all that often, and when he does, he tells us absolutely nothing. He is by far and away the GM in this town, and I like Trajan, but he's by far and away the GM where I learned nothing from his press conferences at all.
Yeah. He's pretty, like, tame. He doesn't speak a ton as far as, like,
doesn't give you
giving
anything.
out information. Yeah. Like,
hey, what's going on with Ivy? He's getting better. Jalen Duren going to get extended? I don't talk about that. Okay, then I guess I'm going home now. That's what his press conferences feel like.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I like, you're right. There's no evidence that he would make this trade away 3 firsts type of deal for a superstar, but there's also no evidence he wouldn't do anything like that.
The Pistons are also the best team in the East, like a month into the season.
Which is why I would want to capitalize on it right now.
That wasn't really expected. And so maybe he is going to make a move that he didn't really think was expected either because of this. Who knows?
And even in the last 2 years, there's been a couple teams that have shocked the world and have gone to the finals. Like that Pacers team last year. Yeah. It started 2 years ago when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. That came out of nowhere. And I think maybe the Pistons last year, like going on the run that they did and bringing the Knicks down to 6 games where every single game was like a 5-point game, that might be enough to where it's like, hey, man, that's like to many people the favorite in the Eastern Conference. And they already kind of feel like they can beat that team because I think they can now because they're a much better team than they were last year, the Pistons are. And if they can beat them, I feel like they can just beat anybody in the East.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a good comparison with that Indiana team because if you go back to 2 years ago, it's a similar formula to what the Pistons could go on trajectory-wise right now.
Starts with the in-season tournament?
It starts with the in-season tournament, but it's also they have success in the in-season tournament. Tyrese Halliburton is their star guard. The Pistons have that with Cade. At the trade deadline, the Pacers go, quote-unquote, all in and deal for their second-best player in Pascal Siakam.
Who many people were like, that's not going to get you over the hump.
Right, exactly. People that and you have to pay him as well. Like, he's a fine second player, whatever. Siakam's been awesome as a Pacer, by the way. Like, his entire tenure as a Pacer so far, he's been tremendous.
I'd say Lowry's probably better than him.
Right, they're at least similar players. Like
very similar.
Similar, not play style, but as far as like where they're at in rankings of the league and everything. Like very similar ranked wise. And they go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They run it back once again, and they go to the finals back-to-back seasons. Like, what's to say the Pistons can't go on that same trajectory this season?
I don't see why
in a wide-open East. But it all starts with, 1, the in-season tournament, and 2, trading for your second-best player at the deadline.
Which I think is just destined to happen at this point. And if it's not Lowry, it's someone who at least, like, either an elite 3-and-D person who kind of gives him another piece, or a Michael Porter Jr. where it's like, cool, now we added another, like, lights out shooter to stretch the floor.
They definitely need someone, whoever they add, they have to be a shooter. This team still lacks a ton of shooting.
The Lowry marketing just fit to the team is actually diabolically insane. How perfect it would be.
Diabolically insane
how perfect he'd fit. Like, you'd have your bigs rotation of Lowry, Stu, and Duren, and I honestly don't see any reason all three of them can't play together.
They probably would, at least sometimes.
Lowry's what, 6'11"?
Yeah. 6'11", 7 foot. I mean, he's humongous.
So you have those three guys playing together with Cade and fill in, like, whoever you want. Asar, Dennis. Because I think the other thing that's become pretty apparent the last couple of weeks is, like, I don't know about you, I think the Dennis stuff is kind of real. I don't think he'll be a 20 points per game guy. He's probably just part of this
rotation the rest of the season now, yeah.
Which makes me feel like Ivy is pretty expendable. Yeah. Which has been what we've been talking about for 2 years.
For sure, at least Dennis, at the minimum, Dennis has taken Marcus Sasser's spot.
At the minimum.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And by the way, guys, since January 1st, which is the day Ivy got hurt, the Pistons are 43-22. They can trade him, especially now that Dennis is kind of balling out the way that he is. Ron Holland's the bigger piece. If the Jazz are going to trade Markkanen, I think they'd have to give up Ron. And that would be really tough to give up Ron, who embodies what it means to be a Piston. Right. He's one of the dogs.
So young, year 2. Feels like he has a really untapped potential as well.
It would suck. But, man, like a Lowry and Markkanen addition to the team, and for you to have those three bigs, I think pretty much makes you the favorite in the Eastern Conference. 989